why you should always avoid a bar fight with a meth head, Brazil, China, and agricultural economics. Yes, I will connect those dots. Let's give you a little backstory to get into this. China, as most of you know, was America's largest agricultural customer starting in the late 90s, early 2000s, grew and grew and grew until a few years ago when they started to drop off precipitously. And you're going to say, that's because of Trump or because of trade tariffs and all these sort of trade spats. Well, that's not necessarily the case. You see, China always had it in their vision to not be a customer of the United States of America. They set up in the year 2013 the new Silk Road or the Belt Road Initiative, which means deploying billions of dollars around the globe, principally in developing or underdeveloped countries in what was basically economic colonialism, building ports, railroads, and huge investments to extract resources. Places like Brazil benefited greatly. Ports, roads, rail, in an effort to take the products from Brazil to China and also not have to deal with the United States of America, because China, the number 2 economy in the world, would like to not be dependent on the United States, the number 1 economy in the world. In fact, they don't even want to contribute to our economy. Better to contribute to Brazil's, which is only 2% or less of the global economy, and you can keep your thumb on Brazil. So where does this all go, and why am I talking about meth heads? Well, because bulk commodities are oversupplied. Things like soybeans are being sold for $2 on the global market, less than they cost to produce here in the United States of America. What are we doing in the meantime? Well, the taxpayers of the United States have been asked to pull out $12 billion in December of 2025 to pay farmers to stay in production. Another $15 to $17 billion of farm aid is being tossed around in Congress right now in the beginning of 2026. In the short term, this keeps farms afloat and they'll keep producing. They're being told, go out there and grow these commodities, even though the cost of production is greater than the market price. Who benefits from the taxpayers paying these farmers? China. Because now they get cheap stuff and the taxpayers paid for it. So the problem that I have, and where I'm talking about don't get into a fight with a meth head, is when in American ag circles I hear it discussed, you know what? We can compete on price. We can compete and grow soybeans just as cheaply as Brazil can. And I'm telling you, no, you can't. Land values are a fraction of what they are here in the United States. Labor prices, a fraction of what they are here in the United States. Regulatory environment, the innovation that we innovate that goes to Brazil, much cheaper down there. And the more important thing is, as my friend Jason Mock, Indiana farmer, says, you getting into a fight over who can produce stuff more cheaply with Brazil. That's like getting into a bar fight with a meth head. They don't care. They don't feel the pain. And if you end up winning, what have you really won? So always be cautious about being a mature economy that has more to lose by trying to get into the low-cost producer of a commodity mindset. No offense to Brazil, of course. I don't think they're methods. I'm just making a joke. So the point here is we have an opportunity. I talked about another video. It's probably going to be in value-added production. It's going to be in some de-commoditization, traceability, nutrient-dense products, flavor, quality. That's where America's future has to be. It's not going to be in competing with those countries that very likely have less to lose than we do. They'll feel no pain while we feel the pain to get to their level. Damian Mason, I speak on stages all over North America and right here online about the world's most important industry, the business of agriculture. Thank you for tuning in.